How do you think the Russia, or what would be Russia's role in this crisis, and in which way will it support Iran, given that the U.S.-Russia relations witnessed improvement recently?
Thank you for having me, Mona. It seems, just as you just mentioned at the end of your question, that the significant improvement or the cooling down of tensions, rather, between the United States and Russia might actually pave the way for Russia to play a very effective and constructive role in any potential mediation between Iran and the United States, and maybe even Israel by proxy in some way. And I don't think that it is just by chance that Foreign Minister Arakci is visiting Moscow just to garner support. And when he's received by President Putin himself, and not even by Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister, means that very certain high-level messages might be conveyed by the Russians from the Americans to the Iranians, it seems. And there might be some sort of Russian mediation in the works in order to cool things down. Because it seems that this conflict, even though it has been going on for about 10 or 11 days, it's approaching its climax, as it seems. Israel has targeted most of Iran's, or as much of Iran's nuclear and military infrastructure as it could, and it had reached the limits of its capacity. Iran, on the other hand, has also bombarded everything with Israel with its entire capacity, which means that they have reached the peak of their power projection and their use of force. And the United States did not escalate the war further, only intervened briefly to take out these 3 nuclear sites. And they have explicitly said that they have no interest in engaging in an open war with the Iranians. So there is something to work with here. And I think that is what the Russians are working on. However, on the other hand, the Iranians, and let's be very plain and frank about this, Mona, have been let down by the Russians. They have always thought that the Russians are their allies, and that when they are subjected to such a brazen war of aggression, that the Russians will do more to fend off these offensive actions. However, Russia has been rather passive, even though they have condemned Israel, and they have condemned the U.S. They are even proposing a resolution in the UN Security Council along with China and Pakistan. However, it doesn't seem that Russia has increased its military supplies to Iran, for example. It does not even seem that there is a lot of intelligence sharing going on. President Putin even said that the strategic partnership between us and Iran does not include a mutual defense clause, it seems. And it was even rumored that before the war, reports have said that President Putin has conducted a secret phone call to Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, and explicitly warned them that he needs to be more flexible with the Americans in the negotiations, or else he might face an Israeli attack. So it seems that Russia did not do much at this point to support Iran, given that Iran supported Russia very heavily in its war with Ukraine by supplying them with those Shahed 136 drones, and even giving Russia the technology to develop these drones domestically, which was one of the game changers in the Ukraine war and made the balance of power tilt back to the favor of Russia. So Russia owes Iran a lot, and Iran owes Russia a lot as well. Russia has supported their nuclear program and also has developed their military capabilities. However, it seems that Russia might need to play a more proactive role. And I believe if the war escalates further and these mediation efforts fail, we might see Russia increasing its support to the Iranian side.